I want to hear, because I know that your father was expecting you to be a boxer.
Yeah, when we immigrated, they don't play American football in Tonga. They play it in American Samoa, but not in Tonga. My father was a rugby player, but he was also a fighter. He was a boxer. And so when we immigrated, his master plan was that I would one day become the heavyweight champion of the world. And
so was it Muhammad Ali or Joe Frazier that was
his style?
Whose was his?
His style was Joe Frazier.
Really?
Frazier's shorter, and he loved Frazier's tenacity, and in fact he trained me to fight that way because he knew I wasn't going to be that tall. Ali's 6'3", 6'4", and had long arms, and his jab was legendary because he'd keep people off like Frazier. But the reason why the Ali-Frazier trilogy is so memorable even 50, 60 years after is because of their styles. Their contrast in styles is what made that fight interesting. Because Frazier,
I can still hear Howard Cosell. Down goes Frazier.
Down goes Frazier.
Oh man. I think I was on my mission when. But go ahead, you keep going.
No, but my dad my dad trained me to fight in that manner, in that style. It was, bob and weave. You got to come in, and you had to have the toughness, and maybe this is why I translated to football. I had the toughness to be able to take punches on your way in, bob and weave your head, but you had to go in and uncork the left hook, because that's what Frazier did.
That's the power.
That's the power. And that was Frazier's dynamite, was that left hook. And I had that same. So we trained on how to turn my hips, how to snap them, how to transfer weight from my left leg to my right leg, and all of that. Anyways, so we trained, and I had close to 80 amateur fights by the time I was a freshman in high school.
Wow!
We were fighting, we were traveling, we were in a.
Do you wear helmets in that?
Oh yeah, as amateurs.
You
wear you not
kind
helmets,
of a padded,
like padded.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Just curious.
You fight 3 rounds, 3-minute rounds. We were running 3 miles a day every morning. By the time I was in the 7th grade, 9th grade.
This was a team, or your dad and you?
No, just me and my dad. And that's boxing is an individual sport, so we were training at a gym. Rendezvous Park in Mesa, Arizona, was the spring training home of the Oakland A's, and underneath it was a municipal-owned stadium, and underneath the stands was an old gym. It was run by an old African-American man named Gene Lewis. He was a legendary in Mesa, where I grew up, and he trained fighters there. And my dad and I went and trained there. So by the time I was in I was just about to start 9th grade. I'd had probably 76 amateur fights, won most of them. I didn't lose much, but we would travel. We'd be in this pickup truck every weekend. We'd be driving to Albuquerque and Las Cruces, Holbrook and Winslow, every small, town in the Southwest. We were driving there on the weekends, and we'd fight in tournaments, and then we'd drive home Sunday. And as you can imagine, my mother hated boxing. Much as my dad loved it, my mother hated it because it was taking me away from church. She didn't see a pathway for me to go serve a mission and marry in the temple, all the things that a mother would want for her son. And she tired, frankly, of putting ice packs on my face when I would come home. But this is my dad's dream for us. So here's what happened. 9th grade, I go to high school. I was actually in junior high. I went to junior high with your sweetheart. And when I get to 9th grade, I realized nobody knows that I'm training as a boxer. But one day I'm in the gym getting ready for PE, and the coach walks by, and he sees me, and I'd taken my shirt off, and I think he walked by and looked at me, and he doesn't know me, other than I'm in his class. But I've been training, 2.5 hours every evening, running 5 miles every morning. I didn't look like a 14-year-old kid. Right? I looked like an 18-year-old. My body looked like an 18-year-old body. He stopped and he said, "Son, why aren't you playing football?" I said, "I've never played, sir." "Would you like to play?" "Yes, sir." "Come with me." He walks me down the hallway, issues me equipment. You have
so
cleats.
Begins the illustrious career of Vai Sikahema.
And that's how I started playing football. I started playing football, and I found it was, I know at that time I needed team sports because I've been doing this on my own for the last 7 years of my life.
How'd your dad feel about that?
And my dad hated it. But when I came home and I told my mom, I'm going to play football, my mom says, I don't need to play football. And then I said, Mom, it's after school. She goes, what? After school? Well, then you wouldn't be able to go to the gym. I said, yeah, exactly. And she said, well, when your dad gets home, I'll explain to him. So my dad comes home, and my mom says,
you're playing your parents against each other.
I'm telling you, my mom says, Lonnie, part of the U.S. Education system is that kids have to choose a sport. And he's chosen football. It's in the afternoon. My dad said, well, we got boxing. He said, no, there's no boxing. He's got to be in school. And my dad, how long is this going to be? I said, the fall, I guess. And my dad, my dad was all upset, but he knew that, we were here to go to school. But my mom saw this as a path to get out of boxing. And I never went back to boxing when I started playing football.
Oh, yes, you did.
And, well, until much, much later. But yeah, I attribute it to the prayer of a mother. My dad had been inactive in the church since we came from Tongan. He drifted away from the church, and so he wasn't active in our faith. And men in my wards that we lived in conferred the Aaronic priesthood on me and my younger brother, and all the offices. We were ordained by men in my wards, and my dad wasn't active. And my mom didn't want that life for me. And she went every Saturday to the Mesa Temple. Every Saturday, Mike, without fail. And I learned later as an adult, she said, I went to the temple pleading and begging the Lord to help me find a way for you to get out of boxing because it wasn't a path that I wanted my son. She said, and football was the way that the Lord answered my prayer. And so
that's unbelievable. That's
right?
Sweet. The prayer of a mother.
I'm telling you, the prayer, the faith of a faithful woman on behalf of her son and her children. The hand that rocks the cradle, as they say.
Love it.
So.